Hello, we're back to the bouncing ball lesson, and this is part 3. I'm over at frame 30 right now, and if you click on your transform layer icon, you should be able to see your path, okay? And obviously the larger squares are the keyframes, and the real small squares here are just the frames in between the keyframes. You should have a keyframe every 5th frame. If you don't, this isn't going to work, so be sure you have that squared away. Now go to frame 45 on the timeline. Be sure you have transform layer selected, and looking up here on the settings for transform layer, we'll be keying in numbers in this area here for the X, Y, and Z scaling. First thing to type in the field next to X is 0.7, and then move over here to the field next to Y and type in 1.2 and hit enter. Now you'll see that your little ball is distorted. Now we're going to move down to frame 55. Up here to the right of those 3 fields for scale, click the reset button. Down in the timeline, go to frame 60. Back up here. This time, type 1.2 and next to Y, 0.7 and hit enter. So now you'll see that your ball is squashed. Go to frame 65. Up here, click this reset button. On to frame 75. Next to X, 0.7. Next to Y, 1.2. Hit enter. Down in the timeline, at frame 85, click the reset button here. Stop at frame 90. Go up here, next to X, 1.2. Next to Y, 0.7. Hit enter. To 95, click the reset button. In the timeline, go to 105. Back up here. Next to X, 0.7. Next to Y, 1.2. Hit enter. Go down to 115. Click the reset button. Go to 120. Back up here. 1.2. 0.7. Enter. 125. Click reset. 135. Next to X, 0.7. Y, 1.2. Hit enter. This will be a little bit different as we go off stage. At 145, click this reset button. And moving to 150, because we're off stage and you're going to come back around, we're not going to do anything here. We're just going to leave it. Now this still isn't going to look great, but if you want to play it through once real quick, you'll see that you've got a really good start. Now go back to frame 30 on the timeline, and we're going to start pointing this ball in the direction that it's traveling. It's going to make it look a whole lot more interesting. While you're at frame 30 and with transform layer selected, we're going to rotate the ball so that the ball's chin, so to speak, will be pointing downwards, like so. And then to that next keyframe, frame 35, I'll make a small adjustment. And the next keyframe, another adjustment. You see how I'm pointing the bottom center of the ball right over top of the path. For 60, where the ball is at the bottom, you're probably going to want to level that out. Coming back up, this time you want to take the center top of the head and point it right over top of the path. And when we get to the top in the middle there, it's going to be a little bit different. And make sure I'm over top of a keyframe here. Let me have a look. So the ball's going to swing around when it gets to the top point, right? He'll be facing upwards. And then coming back down, it'll be chin down again. So on this next keyframe, I'm going to start turning him the other way. At 90, that's the top. Level him off. And then when we start to come back down, now it can be chin first. Let me zoom out. Now, I want to show you this up to this point because I'll probably pause the video and let you do the rest on your own. Okay? So let's see. I stopped there. Follow through with that up until you reach the end. And on 150, you'll want him just facing with his head up again. So go ahead and finish up. I'm going to pause now, and I'll continue in the next video.